A very good morning and welcome to our broadcast. Welcome to FYI. For your information, believe it or not, it's the 4th day of September already. Good to see so many of you on the live already. Liming wrong. We don't want too many limers today. Let's get busy, folks. Let's get busy. Good to have each and every one of you on with us this morning. We're dotting the I's at our end. We are crossing our T's as well. We hope that you guys are good. We hope that you guys are well. Wherever you're joining us from today, folks, we are thankful that all of you are here with us. We are tremendously thankful that you guys are here with us today. Yep. So let's get on with it, folks. We got to guess who's going to be dropping by as well. All right? We got to guess who's going to be dropping by. I hope. I'm happy that when we call folks, they answer. I hope this one answers it. We got to guess who's going to be joining us via telephone. Folks, we're just happy that you guys are here with us. Good to see you there. Wherever you're joining us from this morning, do let us know. You're joining us from right here at home in Guyana. Some of you close with us. You're in the national capital city with us, where you're broadcasting live from. Some of the other folks might be joining us from Region 11, the diaspora. Saw some of you out there for Labor Day activities in New York. You all know how to get on bad when you're ready. Good to see all of you folks. It's Wednesday. We're in the middle of the week, the start of the month. What else could you ask for? You got life, you got the health, you got strength. What else could we ask for? Huh? We could ask to be in government. Soon, folks, soon. Good to have all of you on with us this morning. Another day, looking at the issues out there that are trending, folks. As I said, we're really delighted to have so many of you on the live this morning. Let's see who we got with us. We got the Honorable Camille McKenzie is here. Andrew Griffith, George Calder, Sheena Hazel is here. Dally Anderson. You know, I'm sitting in this chair for like an hour and a half before we start. So by the time we come on, I gotta readjust, you know? I gotta readjust. When you start, you are down and you're crouching and so on. By the time you gotta be erect for you folks. Watching you all head on. In the eyes. Deborah Pearson, we see you there. Beatrice Selby, we see you as well. Bella Mona, we see you too. A lot of things are happening, folks. A lot of things are happening. Irvin Don Cook, Beatrice Selby, Brenda Braffett, Jilly G. What's that G for? Go. Jilly G. That G. What's that G? You're the real G. Jewel Ward, good to have all of you on the live this morning. Share the live with someone, folks. Let them know that we're on. We are fired up and we are ready to go. Great to have so many of you on the live this morning. You all know how we do it, how we sit. We're on the live. On the live. Yep. Double checking, crossing my eyes, dotting my T's. Good to see Arlene Daniels is here. Got an aunt whose name is Arlene. Yep. Good to have you, Hugh Alistair Trotman. Good to see you, Hugh. You're on the live. Euclid Lambert is here too. Deborah Pearson. I forget to get. I wish I had I'd like to see a cup with something. Probably I wish I had a utensil. I wish I had a receptacle. Shannon Smith Daniels. I see you going foreign girl. Dress up and ting. Out there in those streets. Shannon, how you doing? I need you to set up another engagement for me quite soon. Shannon, you know what I'm talking about, man. Shucks. I like to talk twice. Good morning to you. Shannon, how you doing? Getting spectators on the live this morning. Yeah, Christmas is in October in Venezuela. Yeah, we're different. Shannon says she's out there in New York, living her best life. I know the feeling. I know, you know how you go foreign. Like Shannon lives, and I saw former Minister of Finance Vincent Jordan Also out there, you say I could get used to this here. It's only because you're committed to the struggle. It's only because I can get used to this here, man. You could tuck in. Urban Dad, I'm talking about. You went there. Probably going back shortly. Lionel Simon, Debbie Collins. Gonna have all of you on the live. Debbie Collins. Folks had a fantastic time at the credit union meeting last week. Saturday. Had a good time. And then I went up to Bobis. Oh, the damn road there, I fed up with them, That road by KK gas station, that piece there. Fed up with them with that. We had the 9 days or the 9 nights or something like that. Had a little argument with my wife. Said her sister got married the previous weekend. They were having the 9-day festivity. Bobby Shell's gonna celebrate everything. It's another set. So went up there. The thing starting around 6 o'clock. They said they're heading over 6 p.m. I said, it's gonna be 9 days. It's gonna be the 9th night. I just want to be correct. Chronologically, grammatically. Let's say 9 night. You celebrate everything. Everything. Get married and does it. We still out here strong. Heading to a milestone. November, my wife and I celebrating an anniversary. The 2nd. Our son had no manners. He come on the 2nd. 1 year later, he come on the 2nd. Just like that. But we can show you this year here is not about him. Celebrating another milestone in our marriage. Gonna take that weekend off. Go and score some points somewhere. You gotta rack up these points when you can. We gotta work while it's yet day, folks, because the night cometh when no husband shall work. So I'm going to take that weekend off, probably the Friday. Give me all advance notice. Whatever is that first weekend there. He come on the 2nd. Botheration child. Listen, hold on. You can tell other people to share in botheration. When you put it in your own child. Took after his mother. Botheration child. Botheration bad. You see? Yep. So we got a lot of things we want to cover this morning, folks, as we start. So I was there. We had it was on Sunday. You had the credit union. It was Sunday. The credit union AGM continued on Sunday. Saturday afternoon, I was at my heart goes out to people who take on charitable work. I was at back to school. What do you call it? Distribution on Saturday. I can roll it out little bit by little bit over the next few days. Can't give you all one morning. I give you a snippet this morning. Right? But the young lady and her daughter, they weren't even there in person. They just sent the stuff and asked a beautiful young lady to distribute the stuff. I've never seen it done like this. These children getting real good. Saturday I was at, what school is that? This was the West Demerara Secondary School. On Saturday, the kids got a party bag. Then they get backpacks. They got some lunch packs. They fed them with lunch. We had some cultural items there. They had food. They had drinks. They had, what you call it, the thingy that they put the sweets in and so on, and the piñata. They had some piñatas. Those kids enjoyed themselves. It's only shame I can't scrambling after them sweets myself. It's only shame, and I came home and ate the food. Y'all know the prices out the market there. Boar, fetching, and cabbage and so on. So I came home and, sometimes when you eat food home, like it tastes different. In the words of the generation now, it hit different. When you eat out and you gotta, you gotta hold your knife a certain way, you don't get the real taste of the food. Right? Your food tastes different if you put up your foot in the chair. Or you put your foot in the tail. It tastes different. I came home, ate the food and so on. Hats off to people who put these things together. Not just the food, but the back to school. They had a lot of kids there, folks. They had a lot of kids. Shout out to Bernadette and her team locally, the sponsor there in the United States. And here is Sister Bernadette, giving thanks to the young lady and her daughter overseas who had a lot of kids there. A lot of kids, a lot of kids. Good to have you on the live this morning, folks. Some of the event I was at on Saturday last in Region 3.
Good afternoon, pastors, children, parents, and Mr. Duncan. Sister Cisis Iceland Bristow and her daughter Francine Lucas, 4th year of giving back to the Guyanese children back to school supplies. She usually sends the school supplies via the Park on A cargo and stand all expenses. Children as far as Linden benefit from this hands of the mother and daughter. Sister Ison always wanted to give back. As she prayed about it, this is the revelation she gets. To go bigger this year, and every child will have a memory of this blessing. I just want to thank the parents for everything, I just want to thank the parents for accepting my gift for their children. Sister Iceland, on behalf of the parents, children, and I, we all salute you. Thank you. God bless you.
Yep. That's how it went down there, folks. That was at the West Demerara Secondary School. It's a lot of kids, a lot of kids there. I really want to thank Sister Iceland Bristow and Francine Lucas for their contributions there. These are the real unsung heroes, These are the real unsung. They invited me. They didn't even ask me to put it up there. I just said this thing is so, right? These are the unsung heroes, people who just do good behind the scenes all the time. And, Iceland Bristow and Francine Lucas. National Warfare, fourth year doing this. And I'm telling you, by any standard, as I saw one economist talking about the economy locally, they did extremely well. Yeah, I tell you, you had some cultural items there. You had food, you had drinks. They get party bag. They got a snack on top of that. They got ice cream. At the end of the whole thing, some kids even got some money in envelopes. You had to upturn your chair, and if you had a little sticker there, you got some money in an envelope. They get backpacks. They got lunch. I see a look story. Says Iceland got a little thing. She got oil block or something here now. Congrats to these folks. Congrats to these. As I said, I came home, ate a little food. Sheila boy child, the macaroni, and he had up there and a little chicken and so on. Had some chow mein and some fried rice. Nice time. Of course, that was Saturday. I had some for Sunday. You can't eat everything one. There's not one lash now in this economy. Had a little for Sunday and some for Monday too. Thank God for them. Then it was off to the ninth night. Angel know the whole story. Angel and the men got married. Cow kill, cow goat. A whole set of things. It was a good Saturday we had. How you folks doing? How you all folks? We had a good weekend overall. Didn't get in my exercise though. That's the one thing. Still bothered me. Did a couple stretches this morning. Didn't get in the exercise. Didn't get in that exercise. Let's go, folks. Sad story here. Very sad story here. A gentleman was up in a mango tree yesterday picking some mangoes. Excuse us for a second. Didn't end well for him. By some machinations, he fell out of that mango tree on the fence, And it was these kinds of fence that got, the metal. We would say joking out. He fell on that and was impaled by it. You know, it was so sad. So I don't care if people are drunk and what have you, as they purported that he was. Nobody deserves that kind of end. Nobody deserves that kind of end. And when I saw this online, I was thinking in my, it's weird thoughts go through your head. You see horrific endings like this. Whether he was alive and needed help, and as Guyanese, we would just stand and watch on. You know, we would just stand up and watch on, take out your cell phone and take a selfie or some foolishness like that. All that went through my head. Whether he was alive and succumbed later on because, he was impaled by this fence here. His name is given as Derek Satan, not Satan, Satan, known as Chongmin, fell out of this mango tree and was impaled on metal rods, is how they put it nicely here, of a fence in Cummins Lodge. Y'all see me talking a lot about how Cummins Lodge edging up. A lot of weird things happening in Cummins Lodge of recent. Young man found dead in a room there. A whole manner of things. Cummins Lodge. We gotta pray for Cummins Lodge. Fell out of this mango tree, impaled on the fence. They said that Satan had climbed this tree to pick mangoes from a neighbor's yard, but slipped and fell, causing causing his head to be impaled by the fence. Police were called to the scene and pronounced Satan dead. Or rather, he was pronounced dead on arrival at the city hospital. It is suspected, as I said, that he may have been intoxicated at the time of the accident. Thoughts and prayers with his family. Thoughts and prayers. Oh my. Let's move on. It's early in the morning, folks. I don't want to think you too much. Harass emotions too much. Don't want to harass emotions too much. Some of the things trending, Yolanda, Maxine, and Raquel, I am amazed. As I said, my wife is from Yeovil. Really, she's from 28. She keeps saying she was born at 28. I love the fact that people from the country are so attached to places like that. She maintains very strongly. She's from 28. She was born in 28, then they moved to Yeovil, but she's from 28. Spent her whole life at Yeovil, but she's from 28. But that being said, such a strong attachment to places. It's just amazing, right? We gotta be careful out there. Things trending. I kind of lost my trail of thought there. Things trending, folks. That's where we're starting from. Good to have so many of you on the live this morning. Yvette, Madu, Don Walcott. We see you there. How things by you, Don? Kurt Heineken is here. I see Kurt and Siobhan McDonald. Good to see you there. Marvin Jacob on the live this morning. Good to have you, Marvin. All the other folks joining us. Folks, yesterday my son wasn't doing so well. He had a fever. We were trying to monitor it from home. And I was kind of racing off of the program yesterday morning, get him to the hospital. Still had that event to contribute to at the National Assembly yesterday. He's doing much better now, much, much, much better. I want to thank the folks there, in healthcare. We went to a private institution, and it's just much quicker. Sad to see. Doctors were kind to him. They had this one nurse, that little thingish, little roughish, but that's another morning. Some of the things that are trending, folks, this morning as we start. Some of you are preempting us. This $100,000 fine for contempt of court. Bert Ness. You're playing, you stupid. People could fix you, He recorded the whole court session and apparently streamed it live while he was in court. All the reports I read said the judge was shocked that somebody could be so stupid. Was shocked. Shook it. $100,000. Sorry, it's not 100 million. $100,000 bail for bird nets for contempt. You got to pay it by the 5th, I think, or 3 days in jail. This is according to Justice Priscilla Chandra Hanif at the High Court. You could tell Priscilla Chandra Hanif is young to this business. She was shocked. There's a few things birdless could shock you. But she was shocked that he would do something like this. You remember, his friend that brought the entire administration of justice at the CCJ into disrepute. You remember your friend? She, every report says Priscilla Chandra Hanif was shook at. Pay within 7 days or 3 days in jail. And he has to issue an apology, public apology to the court. Public apology to the court. And this again is in the Brooms defamation matter. The Brooms defamation matter. Recorded one of the hearings and broadcasted it. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Lucky the judge was a little lenient there. You know, as I said, Priscilla Chandra Hanif was young in the system. Right? Lucky the judge was lenient there. Then we head to this drug bust. More questions than answers where this drug bust is concerned, folks. More questions than answers. And we got to get the bottom of some of this, you know. You already accounted of how the journalists were ferried there. Very hush-hush. Very hush-hush. Folks, I've said this publicly. I'll say it publicly again. This whole thing seems staged. The whole thing seems staged. Right? That's all I want to say. The whole thing, and y'all know. I know the whole thing. And this whole story here seemed very, very staged. Even Starbuck News this morning, I saw it. It's caricature. Said the whole thing suspect. Lights, cameras, action. What are your thoughts? When you see this, what are your thoughts? How it went down? Are you wrong? Starbuck News wrong? We all wrong about what happened? Lights, cameras, action. Starbuck News said. It's interesting. The journalists had to be flown in and taken to a hotel and wait for 3 hours until they learned the course was clear. You know, how did they know that things were going to turn out well? How did they know? This could have been embarrassing for the police if this had gone another way. How did they know how things were going to go? It's interesting. Starbuck News says lights, cameras, action. I said before and I said again, this seems like a set piece. It seems like a set piece. Last night in our program, In the Ring, thanks for joining us, those of you who did, I raised this issue with former Minister of Home Affairs, then Public Security, Kemraj Ramjadan. Here's some of what he said in this whole story as it unfolds. We've seen a couple of drug busts in recent months, and there as a school of thought that says that this is a set piece. We're heading into election. The PP needs to show that they are very strong on anti narco trafficking, that sort of thing. And that what you're seeing here that you didn't see in 4 years is a lot of set pieces. You could always find the fellow who doing the 2 grams and the 3 grams, and they put him away for a couple of months, a couple of years. But the fellow who's shipping the 4.4 ton, the 11 ton to Belgium, the Netherlands, and so on, you could never find these culprits for some strange reasons. Kemraj, is this just part of this election cycle we're heading into and the PP trying to
No,
show
no,
us.
I feel that they were a number of their friends and family who collect big money are complicit and they know it. You can't tell me that the government wouldn't know that there is an airstrip there. The DEA knows about it. How come your policemen at Madhya can't know about it?
Yeah,
And let me tell you something. All have what is called a connection. How policemen getting so rich? It gotta be because of certain connections they got with these big boys. And how could you buy from Colombia? Because it's Colombia this cocaine has come from. I was public security minister. Largely, they fly from Colombia and come here. Who you think gonna pay for that money? It is not the little black boy and coolie boy on the corner street there. It's them big people that collecting big money, big contractors and all of that. Wealthy
yeah,
people involved in we got plenty money. And who you think got money? The boys in the PPP, friends and family and so on, boss. And they are the ones that could now associate with themselves with this. And they got a capacity to ensure that the police turn a blind eye or turn their gaze away from where the thing packing up.
yeah,
You know? And
yeah,
that is what it is all about. It's a conspiracy of the highest order. I am glad that the Kanu made a break here with the assistance of the DA and so on. I remember that we had asked for a lot of equipment to come in and that we can know when planes are coming in by having a piece of equipment that is stick in the tarmac there of these or the airstrips, and so that you can know by virtue of what is a smart software kind of thing. I don't know if they're not putting these things on
yeah,
onto these
yeah,
airstrips to find
yeah.
out how many, and then also to go and capture the plane. How many plane we captured in our
We captured one
administration?
that earphone flies around in.
Oh yes, that was one. But
We
that is what
captured
you
that one.
do. You utilize the
Yeah.
technologies to ensure that the policemen will know by a
But
plane
Cameron,
landing.
word on the street is that this airstrip, a lot of big ones know about this airstrip. There's not a secret airstrip. It's
It is
almost like a
not.
regional airport there.
Yes. Yes. You take it from me. They got to know these things. You're either you're mad or you're just complicit. Make you know. You don't want to know. But a state, and especially its police institutions, its enforcement sections, must. Because look, if a man could come in like that, or a set of people come in like that, what them Venezuelans that can do, they can come in and literally take
Yeah,
over the whole place. Do we
correct,
know
correct.
what we're talking about here?
Yep, yep. So we're learning now that a senior policeman, according to reports, involved in this. Senior policeman. Look, folks we've been talking to in this area here said this is not no secret airstrip. Police vehicle is going to drop thing here and pick up thing and transport thing and so on. And I said this is linked to that submersible that was found in Port Kaituma a couple weeks ago. This is not no secret. This got the stamp of officialdom on it. People know what happens here. It's interesting. I continue to say, folks, you know, these set pieces is orchestrated to look a certain way, and senior policeman is said to be on investigation. Many senior policemen are on investigation, but these investigations then coming to a conclusion. We have a learning, but never coming to the knowledge of the truth. It's interesting that as elections draw closer, oh, we're seeing, and in one of the reports I saw from one of the Cinco Fund news agencies, oh, this demonstrates that the PPP very strong on anti-narco trafficking strategies and so. 4 year drugs going door door, to and fro. Suddenly, suddenly, you know, also suspect uh, some of these economic figures that I've been seeing. I saw one economist, Richard Rambaran, who, in full disclosure, is a colleague of mine from my university days. Right? Richard did economics. Let's say who can do laws, do econs. So I went on and do law. He did economics. And I saw him saying there, big article out there. This is tremendous growth rate. This is tremendous growth rate. Look, you know what we learn in law? You can all the law, you know. But if you know where to find it, right? You gotta be expert in economics, you know. But if you know the experts, we're in a different place. So I saw some numbers here. Of course, they're boasting 49.7% GDP, gross domestic product. What does that mean to the average man? And then I saw them saying the non-oil economy grew by 12.6%. What does that mean for all those people every Monday in Sabbath News? How the cost of living treating them, say that things are tough and high. What does that mean for them? 12.6% growth in the non-oil sector. Right. So me and bright like this in the econs and so on. I know a couple people who know a couple things, folks. I know a couple folks who know a couple things, and I want to invite one of them this morning. I want to invite one of them to help us to unpack what does all of this mean, right? We know where to find the information that we want, the information that will help to bring clarity. As Kamraj says all the time. Clarity is power. Clarity is power. Folks, we are going to be joined by an astute gentleman. He understands these issues like the others would only wish they could understand it. And they wish they'd bright like him. Folks, I have the privilege this morning of having with me on the broadcast the one and only former Minister of Finance, Winston Jordan. Chief, how are you doing?
You better go to my laptop because you actually caught me on my list.
I'm happy that you're here, sir. I'm happy. When we call folks, they answer. So happy. We are considering, I know you're on vacation, you're having a fantastic time buying out half of New York and so enjoy your vacation.
I can't shop in Saks Fifth Avenue at all.
Saks
What do you call them?
Van Arpel and so on.
No, boy, I got to go buy Bobby's.
Bobby's.
go buy
I was there the other day, so I will not Bobby's. Enjoy. Help us to make sense of the Ministry of Finance mid-year report. As I said, not even using the new nation out of the PNCR or the key out of the Alliance for Change, but Sabbath News every Monday publishes this article about how the cost of living treating people, and it's always the same, Minister Jordan. It's always the same. Things are tough. People can't pay the rent. They can't buy food. Everything is expensive. What does this 49.7% GDP mean to Guyanese or the non-oil economy growing by 12.6%? What does that mean? You know, it's biggest salary we be getting, things going down in the marketplace. Make it make sense for us.
Well, Sharon, I think our tourism is up. All that glitters is not gold. And this is what is happening in Guyana. You have glittering growth, right? But you have no development, right? Guyana is now exhibiting the classic signs that the literature talked about as far back, I believe, as the 60s, of growth without development. Yes, you can. You have 49.7% growth, and it's about the fourth year of growth in excess of, I believe, 25% or even 30%. But yet, its impact on the standard of living of the people, has been barely seen, if seen at all. Because if you ask the average person, those same people that Sabbath News have in their Monday reviews, and they will tell you that they're experiencing a standard of living that is poorer than they actually experienced 5-6 years ago. All right, and they won't be lying. The horrendous prices that they are faced in the market, and they are faced at home, and that they are faced with every other thing that they consume compared to 5-6 years ago, right? The color of the water, the absence of water, the absence of the electricity, you know, and the absence of the absence of security, the degradation of the environment, the garbage all over the place, the overgrown cemeteries, and so on. And these are accumulation of things. When you add it up and you ask that contributors a decent standard of living, that people will tell you, measured today, that is a complete collapse, literally. You know, so yes, you do have glittering growth, but you don't have the development that signifies this growth. And one of the reasons, of course, for that is that when you dissect the growth, about 90% of the growth is coming from one sector, the oil sector. The oil sector is a very capital intensive sector. Okay, so it implies very few people and large amounts of equipment and machinery and so on. Okay, so it will eventually produce a substantial part of the GDP, but it will not filter into the economy. And as you well know, we get a mere 12.5%, right? Forget the 2% royalty, but we get a mere 12.5% of what is being produced there. You understand? And that is essentially what we get. The little bit others we get is the linkages of the economy. But the oil sector tends to be a very enclave sector. It more or less imports its own stuff, right? Because we don't produce any of the equipment that the oil sector uses. Correct. Everything is imported. All the rigs and everything else is imported. The oil sector doesn't produce its own food, so whatever it doesn't import, it takes from the little bit from the local economy, and that is why you see that's a major contributor to the rapid rise in the prices for basic commodities. You know, Baji and so on that is grown locally can be affected by a supply chain, but yet still those prices have gone up tremendously. All right, and that's because the very high income sector called the oil sector is buying up the Baji and so on, at least the good ones. And so what is left for the domestic economy is those that the oil sector don't want because it doesn't meet their standard. And because the good ones are getting those fantastic prices, the ones that you will normally throw away that you're going to get for free and so on, those are also going to command fantastic prices, even though they would not command as much prices as the ones that you're selling to the oil sector. And that will continue to go on until the government comes up with a policy, rather than talk, comes up with a policy to improve the production of real non-oil goods. And what do we mean by that? Even the 12 points, whatever percent, 12.6 or whatever percent growth in the non-oil sector, it is largely being contributed to by what is called the invisible sector. You have the visible and the invisible sector. The visible sector contains goods that you can see. Visible means you can see. So sugar, rice, bauxite, gold, livestock, you know, other agricultural products, those are things that you can see and count. The invisible sector contains the services. And when you look at services, the biggest growth in services is the construction sector, 40-something percent. So like the oil sector is contributing to the visible sector, the massive growth in the visible sector. The construction sector is contributing to the massive growth in the invisible sector. And a large part of the construction comes from the public sector investment program. Correct is right. Comes from the public sector investment program. And it's based on the disbursement to the contractors. You understand? So even though there may be growth in the construction sector, again, it does not necessarily mean that that growth is seeping down to the ordinary people. Because if those people, you hear they complain about unemployment and they can't this and so on, and yet they don't publish any employment numbers. They don't publish any unemployment numbers. They don't publish anything where the vacancies are, where the skill set is determined or needed. They don't do any of these such things. But they obfuscate the numbers with a large number of temporary workers. And now temporary workers seems to be permanent because 2 or 3 years after that program has been put in place, instead of it being declining or diminishing, it is growing. So we're counting employment now, including temporary workers who are being underpaid.
Wow.
So yes, there's glitter. There's glitter going on in the economy, right? There's glitter that's going on. 49.7% half-year growth, 42.3% they said for whole year growth.
And
but underlying these numbers, when you dig under the glitter, right? It's really fool's gold. You will see, because when we look at the visible sector, even at the half year, critical areas like sugar, bauxite, gold, livestock, all of these are done by significant numbers. Rice has been the mainstay and continues to bring in stellar performances. But most of the other areas, even where you have the growth, the growth is marginal or insignificant, not to make a dent into prices or distribution to the needy.
Correct.
So to speak. So at a preliminary level, you can't knock the growth. It is there, is 49.7%. But at the macro level, and when you do all the incision and so on, it really means nothing to the average person. They don't see it and the living improving. They still continue to talk about rising cost of living in this negligible inflation of 1.6%. Like I said, I don't know which economics. I mean, I've studied this thing for all the years. Where you can get an 1.6% inflation when every single soul, rich and poor, talks about the high cost of living, the very high cost of living, the spiraling cost of living, and yet that is not reflected in inflation numbers. Like I said, I try to be kind to the colleagues because I know some of them and so forth, but I really don't understand what methodology is being used. And then the report switches up because generally a half-year report compares the half-year of the previous year with the half-year this year. Okay? So you normally will compare June of 2023 with June of 2024. Okay? That is the first comparison you make. It is rare for the comparison to be December of last year to June this year. Not saying that it doesn't happen. It happens. But generally, half-year report is comparing one half with the next half. And then the outlook will compare last year's final numbers with projected final numbers this year. That's what a half-year report will normally contain. But when you look at inflation, for example, they put up front in your face 1.6%. Okay? They put up front in your face 1.6%. But that 1.6% is measured against December of 2023, not June of last year.
That is why we need you to unpack it for us.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's why we need you to unpack it for us, because when we look at it ordinarily, we get carried away by the headlines, and we don't consider, for instance, that sugar has contracted by 60.4%, livestock by 7.8%, bauxite by, I see, 20% decline. Gold has contracted as well, 10.3%. What does that mean? Because you just see these big numbers. 47.9% GDP. And we have been a good government. We have been a good government. But what does that mean to the average person who clearly suffering out there? There seems to be a disconnect. If we're doing so well, how come I'm not feeling it in my pocket? How come I'm not feeling it in my family? And it's across the divide in this country. People are suffering economically and suffering badly.
And totally agree, sir. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm surprised Ramran worked in my ministry before we left to go to the private sector commission and so on. And I'm surprised that that I haven't read his analysis, but based on what you were saying, I'm surprised that that analysis is something that you will be putting out there. But then because things like these, you have to your reports, so you have to do them on critical and on varnish. You have to say it like it is. Where good has been done, like in rice, you say it up front. Rice has always been doing well. It seems to be properly managed. The sector has been properly managed, and so on. And they could build on the successes of that. But where it's poor, in the case of sugar, people said since last year, for example, that sugar output this year is going to be significantly down because they were using canes. They were using canes in the production of sugar last year that should not have been used. But they were using it just to make certain that the output of last year was better than they projected. And it was said since last year that the output this year will be significantly down in the fourth half of the year. And so said, so done. But they were fooling people all the time. We didn't even know it was this bad, and they're blaming some weather and so on. It is not the weather. And that is the problem you have where policymakers and so on is concerned in Guyana. That people are fooling themselves and we are throwing good money over bad. We can go through one cycle of things we had and so on, with the understanding that it will get better because we know what is the problem and fixing the problem. But how many cycles of bad do we have to go through before we can get the good? How many cycles?
Even as we're talking about the economy and how it's doing, we just had blackout here, and I'm certain for lots of Guyanese, you've had blackout at your end, and true in this economy that's supposed to be doing so well. I see also flagged this fuel supply for that barge and fuel supply for the power sector too. No real strides clearly being made here. Guyanese don't feel any different. I mean, we were on a path under our administration, and Guyanese know this. We had fewer and fewer and fewer blackouts. You didn't think about blackouts. Now it's ever prevalent.
Well, again, they said, I think it was Public News, an editorial, or is it today, that the grass is not always greener
today, yeah,
on the other side.
Today's editorial.
I think it's today, right?
Yes, today's editorial.
And so, it's unfortunate that a reasonably literate population as ours, right, sometimes in that state of gullibility gets carried an oracle who promises the sun, the moon, and the stars. And and grass is going to be greener if you put me in power. And it's unfortunate that we don't even use our history, because we just have to use the 23 years that we had under the PPP to figure out that the grass is not going to be greener on the other side. You can get more of the same or worse. And what is unfortunate to what is going on now is that when you try to plan strenuously You know quicksand? You throw sand and throw, and the sand just disappears. And then they have to abandon that and go to the other side to link in the airport. At Wales Estate, if it's not you, then I know I heard somebody else who there, and they're saying one of the major problems there is the soil. It's the soil that is preventing the foundation to be laid, because the soil, they didn't do the studies, they didn't do the soil test and the soil studies, they went ahead, and now you're having those huge problems and impacting project timelines of the project, and of ultimately the cost of the project. That is what has been reported. All right? So now you got lots of money, or you could spend anytime. Anytime. You could spend lots of money. I see somebody in today's papers making the same case. Oh, you can you don't have to pay towards the bridge. Right? We have to see this in some wider context and so on. And we could take money from the natural resource fund now and repair the bridges when we want to repair them and so on. Right? Now, places like United States and all the developed countries and so on, they got money. And you know all the bridges here are toll bridges. They are toll bridges. They got money here. But we who don't have money, talking about free bridges, costly bridges that have to be maintained, regular maintenance, we're talking about toll-free bridges. Not even the $200 that nobody complains about. Not even the $200 that you're paying right now to cross the Demerara Harbor Bridge. Nobody complains about it.
Yeah.
But it can go a long way toward helping to maintain the bridge. And take away tolls on the Wismar Bridge is going to deny revenues to the Linden Town Council. Now the government has not talked about replacing.
Yeah, correct.
You understand? And even if the government talks about replacing, now the town council is going to be moving from an independent source of income to a dependent source of income.
Yeah, and the women find
and you know
the government.
You know the relationship between the central government and the town councils.
Correct. Yeah. Former Minister of Finance, Winston Jordan, we're struggling with our power supply at this end in the fastest growing economy in the world. We're struggling with it at our end here. Some of the systems are flashing. Just before we let you go, I wanted you to make sense of what do we make of the external debt? That seems to be a big and rising figure.
Oh yes, and in fact, I heard somebody, I think it's Kaito News at one of the last week press conference or something, asked about the rising debt, asked about rising debt, and tell him go and ask the opposition. You know, but you know that's the kind of frequency that you can get. You don't get a responsible answer, you don't get an incisive answer, but in your face, you have all these debts that are being taken, right? Where nobody can show you which manifesto or which development plan that took account of these projects that they overnight coming up with. Can anybody show you a plan that says that we're going to widen Conversation 3 Road, for example? Can anybody show you that plan?
You don't hear it in the national budget. You don't hear it. You don't hear it. You don't see it.
Can anybody tell you about a plan where you're going to bring in 5 regional hospitals and place some of them side by side with existing hospitals? Did you ever see such a plan? Did you see a plan where they are going to put a massive stadium at Palmario?
Yeah.
Did you see such a plan? And all of this is sucking revenues, sucking the little resources. And they are not talking about building out for when there is no oil. The talk is true. The talk is correct. Building out when there is no oil. But are we really building out? When you take a look at the way the investments are going, are we really building out? A tissue culture here and a tissue culture there don't mean a tissue culture at the national level. I was at Liberty Parkway on Monday, and I bought some fish and chips. Let me tell you, the fish is Banjamiri. The chip was plantain chip. You know where the planting chip come from? Because I saw the box. Because the plantings were in a box. Product of Ecuador. Product of Ecuador. If Ecuador can be shipping plantains and they're farther away from the United States than Guyana,
It is beneath
how can we
us.
start ship plantains to the United States?
It is beneath us. Plantains beneath, defensibilities of the 1%.
Chicken chip is a rave over here. I mean, all the chicken chip in the world, but 10 stands that I saw in a row. They're all there flocked. People were buying fish and chips like the head and gun. So when you talk about building out, and again, you're spending huge sums of money, you're calling them small businesses.
Uh-huh.
The amount of money that has been poured into small businesses over the last 4 years, we should start seeing some contribution of the small business sector. In fact, they should start pulling out that sector and separate it to show us what is the impact of all this spending on small businesses. What has been the impact on the local economy, and if they have been on exports.
Correct.
We don't see that. We continue to see large spending. We're building out. What it is that we are building out? What it is that we are building out? And how can us guys, even if we are doing this horrendous cost of living that we have been experiencing the last 4 years, when can we see an abatement? When can we see an abatement? And when can we feel the effects of rising both?
Yeah.
When will our little people
All we got to do is rising tide.
move on being sandman
All we got is the rising tide.
and float us back up? When?
Yeah. Coming soon. I have to have you back. I have to have you back to help us to make sense of some of this. We're heading forward into this silly season, and lots is going to be said and done. Right? We're already seeing some of it as you outlined here. Some of these fly-by-night projects you don't hear outlined in a 6-hour budget. They can talk how long the budget reading was. Oh, it was epic, 6-7 hours, right? But half of these things, 3/4 of them, are not covered there. We have to have a greater conversation on this and all these other issues. Thank you so much, sir, for coming by, and sorry to impose on your vacation.
No problem, thanks much.
Have a good day.
All right.
Folks, we've been having a lot of flashing lights on and off at our end, and our apologies. We think we were knocked off a couple of minutes there. They've signaled to us. We've been knocked off there. But these are sad pieces. You see this report coming out there, this Ministry of Finance mid-year report. Look at this other one that we have been, this caricature. We referred to this early on in our broadcast. This is out of Starbuck News today. Lights, cameras, action. Right? If Paul Harris is to be believed, Paul know the whole thing. Paul know the whole thing. It's a set piece. You bring in the reporters, the journalists, the big set of drugs and so on. Who are the intellectual authors? When are we going to see they have their day in court? If this thing was being staked out and so on and watched and so on, who does it belong to? They said they have one in custody. Let's see where it goes. Let's see where it goes, folks. Let's see where it goes. That being said, we're going to have a hard finish this morning. We're going to have a hard finish this morning. Good to see so many of you on the broadcast. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for Minister Winston Jordan, for coming by. Some of you are going to hang up on the fact that I'm calling him Minister Winston Jordan. Well, so let it be. When you have your show, you can call whoever you want, to call them. Thank you very much, Minister, former Minister of Finance, Winston Jordan, for coming by and helping us to make sense of some of these issues. Please and thank you. Folks, go ahead and have a fantastic day. You know the challenges at our end. Thanks for joining us, Manella Garnett, Cherry Jeffrey. We see you there. We see you there, Paulette Greaves and all the other folks joining us. Deborah Pearson. We see Sandra Hanover. Auntie Sandra, how are you doing there this morning? Mark Garnett, Maxine Monroe. Folks, thank you so much. That's going to do it for us, as they said. That's our time, good folks. Let me switch back. Yeah, that's our time this morning. Lights, cameras, action. Thank you, Paul Harris, for that piece on this. the Sabbath News, folks. We're going to see you guys back on our next broadcast. Sheila Boy Childs is pimping. Y'all know the whole thing. The whole thing. We're going to take a break here, folks, and we're going to see you guys back on the next broadcast. Take